All right, Dope is Jay here, bringing you guys another cigar yap session. We got Perdomo Champagne 10th anniversary. This is the second time on this channel that we're smoking this cigar. It's a big cigar, but we're gonna be out here for a while, so I figured why not record another cigar yap session for you guys. Last video we had the dedicated microphone. It's back out again, and yeah. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the content. Been posting a lot of shorts, a lot of live streams going up pretty frequently. Playing different games, Need for Speed, Battlefield 6, the new season just dropped. We'll talk about that a little bit. And my second playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077, which the viewership on those clips are doing really, really well. I mean, the viewership across most of my clips are doing well, but Cyberpunk in particular is very popular. That was a quick light. Quick light. Now we're sweater weather, right? A couple of videos you guys see me just in like a regular shirt, but now I have to really start bundling up because out here in Northeast, excuse me, out here in Northeast PA, the weather, the temperature is starting to drop a lot, and we're starting to have a lot more overcast, even though the sun is starting to pop out a little bit right now. Oh yeah, this is a smooth hit right here. This is nice. As always, the type of cigar is going to be linked in the description for you guys to look into if you're interested in cigars, right? Let's talk about Battlefield for a little bit, right? Because Battlefield 6 Season 1 just dropped. We have a new map, right? We have a new map, a couple of new game modes, new guns, Battle Pass, and then we had the Battle Royale just drop as well, the REDSEC. And yeah, the new map for Season 1 sucks. Sucks for infantry. It's really good for vehicles if you have some engineers with you, but overall, like, I don't know, like the map is too open, right? There's not enough cover, and whatever cover that you do have is very destructible, which is a negative for both infantry and for vehicles, right? Because for vehicles, like, if you find yourself in the pinch, in other maps, you know that you have cover you can go behind, like go around the building, go behind cover, get repaired, come back out, and then advance forward and do your attack, right? But for infantry, it's even worse. It's even worse for infantry, so I'll keep playing it, keep testing out that map, but overall, I wasn't really enjoying my time playing that map on stream yesterday. In regards to the Battle Royale isn't that bad. It's not that bad. I'm not like the biggest Battle Royale guy like I used to be years ago. And I used to play PUBG, then played Warzone, played Apex Legends and stuff like that. Even I remember I used to play Blackout back in the day too, during Black Ops 4. That was pretty fun playing with the boys. And it's funny because the people that I played PUBG and Blackout with, I'm still playing with to this very day. So shout out to Will if you're watching this video, shout out to you. You guys will see me play with him on stream occasionally. I was playing the Battlefield Battle Royale with him, and like I can't wait to get into quals. We're playing duos, we gotta win, which is pretty cool. A lot of it right now is just learning the POIs, learning the flow of the map and where everything's gonna be. So, and then like learning which guns are gonna be really, really good in that game mode versus your standard multiplayer playing Conquest and stuff like that, because you have shields and you have plates, so you have to learn what the TTK is for that game mode. So as of right now, a day into it, I think it's a hit. Like yesterday when I was on Twitch, I seen that there was 444,000 people watching streamers play that, right? Which is insane. And then we were over 550K total players on Battlefield 6 with Season 1 content, the new Battle Royale and stuff like that. And I think that they have a separate category. Yeah, on Twitch, they have a separate category for REDSEC versus Battlefield 6. So overall right now, Battlefield viewership is up. Battlefield viewership, Battlefield content is up. And I don't think Black Ops 7 is gonna do much to hamper that unless they really hit hard with their Battle Royale, which is dropping next year, their new map. So we'll see what happens with that. Yep, this is smooth. This is smooth. In other news, I just watched Casino Royale just now with my family, and man, that movie is great. That had me like really excited for the 007 First Light game that's coming out next year. And I was like, you know what, let me rewatch the Daniel Craig Bond films, which I think like, well, obviously they did well, right? Like they did well in the box office, but then critically, the entire Daniel Craig Bond film series, it's a bit mixy with some people. Like I think Casino Royale was a great film. I really enjoyed it. This is probably like the fifth time in the past couple of years that I've rewatched Casino Royale because of how enjoyable that film is. But then you have Quantum of Solace, which is okay to me. It wasn't as bad as people made it out to be, but it's okay. Yeah, Skyfall. Skyfall was an amazing film. Um, and then the other Bond films. What was it? Spectre. Spectre was pretty cool. I just like the Daniel Craig films. I don't know. So it had me very excited for 007 First Light, right? And I remember what was like a month or two ago when they showed off the gameplay for that game during the state of play for PlayStation. And I'm like, yeah, this game is shaping up to be a banger next year. And I've been saying this for the past couple of videos, right? About how 2026 is going to be a really big year for gaming. And that's one of my most anticipated games to play. They nailed the vibe of what the 007 experience is like watching the films and translating that into the video game, which is awesome. The visuals look amazing. The level design looks really good. And this is par for the course because if you guys ever play the Hitman games, the 007 game is made from the same developers that made the Hitman games, IO Interactive. So I have faith that they're going to execute on this game and make it a very solid title. Make it a very solid title. All it is just making sure that the game runs well at launch. That's my only concern with that game is like, how's the performance on console and PC going to be day one? So I'll wait for reviews of that to come out. Then I'll get it. Like right now, it's a strong pre-order consideration, but based off of recent history, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna pre-order. I'll wait. Like Battlefield 6, I pre-ordered the day before, and I'm glad I did. And hey, the game turned out to be a banger. It turned out to be really well. I mean, I played the beta, so coming off the beta, I was very excited. Ooh, this is nice. This is nice. I'm sorry. I'm just admiring this one right here. Like the Avo cigar I was smoking the past two cigar yap sessions is really good, but this one right here, we're gonna be sitting with this one for a while. So after this video is finished, I'm still gonna be going through this one. You just gotta pace yourself with these cigars. I had two interesting comments from KidSmoove and Nick Banks. KidSmoove put a comment on one of my posts because I had to do some clarifications about some of the comments that I was getting in my shorts about people assuming that I was drinking alcohol in my videos. And I said, no, I don't drink alcohol in my videos. All you get from me is just me drinking a glass of juice with some ice, and that's it. Similar thing here. I have sparkling ice right here. This is orange mango, contains antioxidants and vitamins. And that's it. I don't drink alcohol. I don't. I quit drinking alcohol a long time ago. So I wanted to get that out there for some people who had the assumption that I was drinking alcohol in my videos while recording me smoking a cigar. No. All I do is drink juice or I drink sparkling ice, smoke my cigar, and just yap to you guys. That's it. And then he said something along the lines of how like cigars contain as much nicotine or something like that as cigarettes. And I'm like, brother, you need to educate yourself on cigars. I'm not going to be here giving you the whole spiel of the differences between cigars and cigarettes and stuff like that. Anything you do has to be done in moderation, right? And then Nick Banks said, in response to his comment under my post, he said, "I hope you're not inhaling the smoke." Brother, I've learned, shout out to you guys, but I'm doing this as a little bit of a teachable lesson for the viewers. And shout out to the newer viewers who have been coming to the channel and supporting me, right? When you are smoking a cigar, I learned this from my elders. That's why I learned about cigars, from older gentlemen who are into this, who taught me the ways. You don't inhale cigar smoke. That's the first rule that you learn when smoking a cigar or doing any type of research into cigars, is that you do not inhale the smoke. You puff, you can hold the smoke, and then you let it out. That's it. That's it. It's very simple. And, you know, I look into other people who smoke cigars and talk to other people who smoke cigars. Me, I only do this like twice, maybe 3 times a week, right? There are people who smoke like 2 to 3 cigars a day. I'm not one of those individuals. I mean, I love cigars, but I'm not that infatuated with cigars to where I have to smoke multiple cigars a day. Those are the guys you need to be more concerned about, because even though cigars are not the most harmful things in the world, there's still health concerns with cigars. Oh, the sun's popping now. This is nice. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful view, man. Like I was saying, even though there are more unhealthier things you can be doing, there's still health risk associated with smoking cigars, obviously, right? And with anything that you do in life, you do it in moderation. And if there's risk involved, you try to mitigate the risk as best as possible. So let me have my vice. You guys have your vices. But yeah, shout out to the new viewers. The channel is growing slowly but steadily. Currently, we're sitting at 540 subscribers total. So thank you guys for subscribing, liking the videos, viewing the videos, the shorts, the live streams, everything like that. We're going to keep the content rolling, keep it consistent. Another thing I wanted to talk about, this just came to my mind, about Xbox. Oh man, seems like I have a couple videos talking about Xbox already. I'm gonna keep this brief because everything I had to say about Xbox I've already said. I talked about how the leadership has to go. You need to overhaul the leadership and re-engineer the structure of Xbox, that division, to get it to the place where it needs to be. You need to build the brand back up from the ground, because that's where it's at right now. It's ground level. They are talking about making their next gen console, this console PC hybrid that's going to be about $1,000 and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, like, you know, Microsoft and Xbox going away from the sub $500, even $400 console, home console, right? And trying to do this PC console hybrid does not make sense to me. And while people will say, yes, Microsoft is a computing company, right? They haven't been great at making computing devices. Where Microsoft makes a lot of their money is off of software and services. That's where the bulk of their money comes from. And while they do make products like Microsoft Surface and stuff like that, Microsoft Surface isn't as nearly as good as the competition in the market. Those 2-in-1 tablets, those very, very powerful Surface laptops that have to compete with other laptops along a similar vein. Microsoft is good at a couple things, great at one, and bad at a lot. That's the type of company they are. And now we're seeing this with Xbox, and we've been seeing this for a very, very long time. And with Halo coming to PlayStation, you have people like KidSmoove, who is saying now that he doesn't know what he's going to do with his gaming hobby moving forward and stuff like that. He had this big reaction video. And I remember doing Planet Xbox with KidSmoove for a while, for a couple years, like 2-3 years we were doing that, right? And me along with many other people on Planet Xbox and other parts of the gaming community told him, listen, we understand that you support Microsoft, but you need to be prepared. There was a car coming by. We said that you need to be prepared for the reality that, because we came into the generation very, very excited. I had high expectations for Xbox coming into this generation. And to see how poorly they executed on a lot of their initiatives and a lot of what they were promising to deliver during this generation is something truly to be studied. And to be where we're at in 2025 should be no surprise to anyone. And I said this in the previous video, and I try to tell the people, I said, the Xbox that we knew during the Xbox 360 generation, hell, even during the Xbox One generation, it's not going to be the same company moving forward and not the same brand moving forward. And we try to gear people up for this for a long time. Hold up. We try to gear people up for this for a long time. And a lot of the Xbox fanboys and supporters just simply didn't listen. And we voiced our concerns about the direction that the company was going in, about how they were floundering on a lot of their initiatives, and here we are now. And to see the reaction now in 2025 from some of the fanboys, and to see some people within the community do a complete 180. And like, perfect example of this was this guy. He used to do a lot of Twitter spaces a couple years ago. His name was Xbox University, right? His name was Xbox University. Now he's just known as Uni Sensei. And I got off of Twitter for a while, got back on Twitter, made a brand new account and everything. And I stumbled across his account. And I'm like, what happened to this fanboy, this guy who was really, really riding for Xbox for the longest, and now he's completely rebranded, completely done a 180. And I'm like, damn, it took this for some of the fanboys within the gaming community to really turn on Xbox. It took us getting to this point. And the realization, the criticisms, the backlash from some of these guys should have came years ago. But they're not the problem. They were never the problem. I think the problem is the people who have direct access to individuals at the Xbox division, the gaming division, right? People who've done podcasts with Phil Spencer, Sarah Bond, Aaron Greenberg, Matt Booty, right? They get flown out to these different events, right? They get all this access and they ride for Xbox, and we start to see the clips of them being completely wrong about Xbox, right? I call them corporate shills and bootlickers, because they had direct access to the individuals at the highest level, and you had the ability to give the feedback. You had the ability to voice the concerns of us gamers. And instead, you chose to be in league and in bed with these individuals for what? So that you can get a pat on the back, so that you can get a handshake with Phil Spencer, have dinner with him. And I've seen this happen in other parts of gaming. You see this happen with Call of Duty, where you had certain content creators. You had some of these content creators try to be buddy with the higher ups over there at those studios, and other games as well. And what they did was they compromised their morals and integrity and their credibility on top of that too. You compromised all of those things so that you can get access to them. And what has that yielded you so far? Now you're getting clowned by the very community that you thought you were going to build because you had access to those individuals. And this is why I say I have more respect for somebody like KidSmoove than I ever would have for any of those other people. Because at least he stands within his conviction and his support for Microsoft. But now he's like, hey, he sees it now. And this is why I've always liked him. One, because he allowed me to be on Planet Xbox with him and other individuals, right? But also because he's very entertaining, for one, extremely entertaining. Two, he's very stubborn in his principles. And I respect that because a lot of people are fickle. They're fickle, they're fake, they're wave riders, and they blow like the leaves in the wind. They're in one direction, then they go into the other. A lot of people can learn from somebody like Smooth. So shout out to him. I'll put a link in the description to his channel. You guys can check him out if you haven't already. But yeah, a lot of these people sold out. A lot of these people sold out, said they can get access to these higher ups at Microsoft, never gave them the appropriate feedback, and now you're looking like a clown. And this is why I always say, don't simp for these companies, don't show for these companies, and definitely do not try to be friends with these executives at these companies. If they give you access to their product for a review or something like that, that's cool. But when you're up there trying to be buddy with these guys and you're trying to defend what they're doing, and then the executives do the complete opposite of what you're defending, now you look like a fool. And they make you look stupid because you're trying to go to bat for somebody who's only there to make profits. You see, Phil Spencer is no different than Dan Matrick, whatever that guy was during 2013 when he said, if you don't have access to the internet, well, we have Xbox 360. Just stupid. What Phil is better at than Don Matrick, he's better at playing the corporate game. That's what he's better at doing. He's a corpo. He's a corpo suit. That's all he is. He doesn't care about the gamers. He cares about his bottom line, making his money, getting his bonuses. And it's the same thing with those other guys. And yeah, like, businesses are supposed to make money. Businesses are supposed to be profitable. But when the business doesn't make sense anymore, and when the things that you're doing is harming the brand, and your hardware sales are down, Game Pass isn't growing at the rate it's supposed to be, and now because of the amount of money that they spent on mergers and acquisitions, particularly that Activision Blizzard deal, here we are. Sony's no different. Sony is better at playing the game, and they're better at the business of the console market in gaming than Microsoft. Sony completely floundered most of their first party titles and development this generation because they chased live service. You know how many games we could have had from these first party studios at Sony if they weren't chasing live service? Now, a lot of these studios had to restart development on single player games because a lot of their live service projects got canceled. And if you know anything about game development for these games take a while. We're talking 3, 4, 5 years in development, even longer depending on the studio and the type of game that they're going for. So when I look at something like Intergalactic, right? Remember, Naughty Dog was making Factions multiplayer. They were making a Factions game that was going to be live service. Got canceled. Now imagine if all those people that were working on Factions were focused on Intergalactic. We probably would have had the game a year earlier. We probably would have had Intergalactic this year. Probably even last. If they were doing nothing but focusing on that game. But you have to divide your resources up. Now look at the Bungie deal. The Bungie deal is aging like milk right now. They spent $3.6 billion on Bungie. Bungie then lays off 50% of their workforce from 2022 until now. And Marathon is shaping up to be the next biggest flop. And then you're going to have some of these PlayStation fanboys on Twitter caping for Marathon, acting like it's going to be the best new thing in the market. Mind you, you have Arc Raiders, which was a hit during its beta, over 180,000 players on Steam alone, not to mention console and Epic Game Store. And you're in a situation where it's like they were stealing art. The alpha wasn't that great. They just had a closed playtest, which I actually got accepted to their closed technical test recently. I didn't touch it. I did not touch it. I didn't care. They completely lost my interest. I got the email for the code. I was like, okay. And I did an entire video speaking about that Bungie situation. Bungie was a floundering company when they got acquired, because that was the start when their DLCs and expansions were not selling as well. They weren't as critically received, and they were losing players by the bunches. Now look at Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is a prime example of a live service game that fails over time, because they don't listen to the community. They don't provide the content that the gamers want, and people just quit and left the game. And instead of saying, hey, let's focus and work on a Destiny 3, they wanted to make Marathon and chase the extraction shooter live service game that probably should have came out years ago, but it's coming out now in a very, very competitive market. Like I said, Arc Raiders is dropping, and Arc Raiders is going to be around for a while. Not to mention Battlefield 6 continuing to have its players. Black Ops 7, even though it's going to be a down year, is still going to perform well in the market. And then you have GTA 6 next year, 007 First Light, Wolverine, all these bangers coming out next year. That's what I told you. Microsoft and Sony aren't too different in regards to how they're handling gaming, outside of the fact that PlayStation handles the business of gaming much better. They handle their studios better. They handle their releases better. Even though this generation doesn't have the output that it should have had, now they're turning it around. They're pivoting. Xbox hasn't found a way to pivot out of the position that they're in right now. And that's why I said they need to fire leadership. It starts at the very, very top. Get those guys out of there. PlayStation is able to pivot now and turn the ship around because Jim Ryan is gone. Jim Ryan has done more harm to PlayStation than good. The best thing that he did was being able to make the PS5 successful during COVID. That's it. But the PlayStation brand is such a strong brand that the PS5 was going to be successful regardless of him. So how much credit can I really give him over the PS5 when you had people like Mark Cerny and those engineers at Sony who designed a great console? And then the marketing team. The marketing for the PS5 was, oh my God, it was ridiculous. One of the best rollouts of a console I've seen in a while. PS4 was great as well. 360 had great marketing. The Nintendo Switch. But man, that PS5 definitely hit, but the output of their first party titles this generation has been a disappointment, and everybody knows it. Even the fanboys, because some of those guys, they start to see the truth. Now, they need to come to the reality that PlayStation and Sony, they're going to go day and date with their exclusives. They're going to do it. Because first it was, PlayStation will never put their games on PC. Right? Now the cope is going to be oh, it's not going to go day and date. I'm telling you, it's going to go day and date. They've been sprinkling this in their presentations, and I'll put the screenshots for you guys to see. They identified that putting their games on PC, because PC is a huge market, putting their games on PC is extremely profitable. And they don't have to sell tens of millions of copies on PC to be profitable. They don't. They do not. They sell 100,000 copies here, 200, 300, 400,000 copies here. You might have the occasional PlayStation hit that sells over 1 million, 2 million copies, but it's profitable. So that's the next shoe to drop. I can't wait to see the reaction from the community when PlayStation announced, hey, we're going day and date on PC. It's going to be a glorious day for us fellow PC gamers, but for the entire gaming community, they're going to see that platforms are no longer a boundary. They haven't been for a while, but it's not going to matter where you play. And I've been saying this for a while too. It doesn't matter where you play your games. It's all about the games that you're playing and the games that you enjoy. I don't care if you're on PC, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, any of that. It's about the games that you play. Platforms are no longer a barrier for video games. It's all about, hey, what's your platform of choice? If you play on console, love your console. If you play on PC, love your PC. I have both, but I play mainly on PC. And I've been enjoying PC since 2017. But yeah, that's the next shoe to drop. PlayStation's going to announce day and date PC games pretty soon. And a lot of these guys are going to be in for a huge surprise. And some of those PlayStation guys are going to be like, what's the point of me owning this? Xbox guys have already came to that reality. What's the point of me owning an Xbox when I have a PC and all my games are there? But you always have to remember, the majority of gamers are casual. Console, plug and play. That's it. I've seen this argument between XQC and Jinxie. And Jinxie put it the best. He's like, I don't want to deal with all these updates and stuff. And I was like, I agree with you. I'm not going to convince somebody to come to PC. No. That's a choice you have to make. But for the console gamers, they love the simplicity of it. And you can never take that away. And Xbox trying to go to this Xbox PC hybrid, they better make it as simple as possible. Because if they don't, we're going to be smoking on their pack. But yeah, this is pretty much it for the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Hey, this thing lasts a while, so we have some more content coming out soon, obviously. We're going to keep up with the live streams. I'm going to keep up with the shorts. Thank you guys for the new subscribers. And I'm out. Peace.